Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. Vice President Leni Robredo and her team once again faced the public to announce six more candidates for their senatorial lineup. To give us the latest on this, we have Mon Gualvez. He's joining us live from Quezon City. Mon, good afternoon. Can you now give us an update on these 11 senatorial candidates that are now part of Vice President Leni Robredo's slate?
Yes, Riza, aside from the initial names mentioned who will be running under Vice President Leni Robredo, namely former Senator Antonio Trillanes, Senator Laila de Lima, Senator Risa Ontiveros, along with them with human rights lawyer Shel Diokno and Liberal Party candidates Senator Laila de Lima and former Ifugao Representative Teddy Bagilat. They will be joining, Alex Lacson from Partido Kapatiran will also be joining VP Robredo's slate. Along with them are the guest candidates such as re-electionist Senator Richard Gordon, Mig Zubiri, Joel Villanueva, also former Senator and current Sorsogon Governor Chis Escudero, and even former Vice President Jejo Marbinay from United Nationalist Alliance will be one of the guest candidates of VP Robredo's senatorial slate. Riza.
Mon, how did they come up with these names? Did Vice President Leni Robredo actually mention the reasons for them choosing these guest candidates?
Well, VP Leni Robredo says her Senate slate was made based on nominations from various groups. She also mentioned that she has been meeting with various sectors this past few days in coming up with this senatorial lineup. Riza.
Mon, we've seen in the video that Senator Franklin Drilon is part of it. Can you tell us of his role again of Senator Frank Drilon's role rather in Robredo and Pangilinan's campaign?
Yes. Senator Franklin Drilon's main task is to supervise the senatorial lineup in terms of campaign, and he will be accompanied by former BCDA President and CEO Arnel Casanova, who just withdrew his intent of running as senator as well for 2022 elections. Riza.
Mon, so they announced 11 names in total so far, and why is it still that there is one missing slate for their senatorial candidates? Are they intending perhaps to fill the slot soon?
Yes, they are continuously meeting with other sectors, but when we ask who are the possible senatorial candidates for that 12th spot, VP Leni Robredo mentioned ex-Bayan Muna Congressman Nery Colmenares and labor leader Sonny Matula are among those who are still being considered for the 12th slot in her Senate slate. Riza.
Well, can you tell us also more about how Vice President Leni Robredo responded when asked about the possible corruption allegations faced by some of the members of her senatorial lineup?
Yes, actually, Robredo when asked about that issue pertaining to some of her Senate slate members facing corruption allegations in the past, she mentioned that there's nobody's perfect actually in this world, and she even actually clarified that what is more important is the commitment and readiness of those candidates to sit in one table and discuss what is fit for the country's betterment. For everybody's good, for the country's good. So again, she's clarifying that what is more important is the commitment and readiness of these people who are facing corruption cases in the past. Riza.
Have the other guest Mons, or have the other guest candidates for that matter, committed also their support to Vice President Leni Robredo's presidential bid?
Yes, Riza. Actually, Senator Franklin Drilon clarified that about specifically on the guest candidates, because they are also being endorsed by other presidential candidates in a way. And what they are requesting with these guest candidates is not to endorse any presidential candidate. So to be fair with this bout, with this presidential elections, so they committed their support to the senatorial lineup, but not pertaining to Robredo's presidential bid.
Mhm. What about Vice President Robredo's reaction to the possible issues surrounding the crowdfunding campaign? Mon, how will she ensure transparency in this donation drive?
She clarified that, Riza, when asked about this crowdfunding issues, she even said that it is not theirs. It is actually a volunteer-driven crowdfunding activity, and nonetheless, she mentioned that they are actually coordinating with these people that this will be ensuring transparency and accountability, in which former COA, I think Heidi Mendoza, is also part of this group, Riza.
Mhm. Final question one. What were their reactions to Senator Ping Lacson's comment that he felt insulted with his last unity talks with the Robredo camp?
They have no idea on this, Riza. I mean, they are actually surprised with what Senator Lacson's comment about being about his feeling of being insulted with his last unity talks with Robredo's camp, but they denied it. They denied this allegation. At the same time, they don't want to comment on it anymore because they think it's a petty issue. But on the other hand, they are still on the side of unifying all those sectors, and they are still continuously doing some unity talks among many others. I mean, among many other candidates as well, Riza.
Mhm. Well, thank you for those updates. That's Mon Gualvez reporting live from Quezon City. Meanwhile, presidential candidate Senator Bato de la Rosa says he's willing to take his bid to court should he be deemed a nuisance by the COMELEC. De La Rosa told the chiefs that his presidential run is serious, even if he's willing to sub out for Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte should she reconsider. The senator also denied being PDP Laban's placeholder candidate, saying his submission of candidacy is a clear manifestation of his intent to run. De La Rosa had earlier said the decision to run only came a few hours before the deadline of COC filing.
Dadaan sila sa isang malaking legal battle pag gagawin nila sa akin yan at ipaglaban ko talagang katotohanan. The truth is, I have a really sincere intention of becoming the president of this country.
Pero sir, that's
Magpapile ba ako?
yes sir.
Magpapile ba ako ng itong magpapile ba ako ng COC kung ayaw ko maging Pangulo?
Finance Secretary Carlos Dominguez said they've revamped their roster of experts who's in charge of the country's climate change response. They've tapped locals in the fishery and agriculture industry, among others, in order to determine the actual situation on the ground. Let's find out more in this Bloomberg interview.
I want to ask you about the Climate Change Commission, which you head up. Right now, what do you see as your biggest challenge or the biggest contribution the Philippines can make as an archipelago? I imagine you feel pretty exposed to a lot of these climate risks now.
Yes, we are one of the most vulnerable countries in the world. Our policy right now is to assist those communities that will be most affected by climate change, and that is our farming and fishing communities. So we have just revamped our list of experts who are advising us, and we are looking at people who are actually living and working in the different regions in fisheries, forestry, agriculture, flood control, because we want to engage the local communities in the implementation of climate adaptation and mitigation.
Children with comorbidities in Metro Manila got their first dose of COVID-19 vaccine today. To tell us the latest on this, we have Jenny Dongon reporting to us live from Pasig City. Jenny, good afternoon. Can you tell us how the vaccine rollout for children went today?
Recent minors aged 12 to 17 who have comorbidities have started to receive vaccines starting today. This includes children with medical complexity, genetic conditions, cardiovascular disease, obesity, HIV infection, tuberculosis, and renal disorder. 8 hospitals have been tagged as vaccination sites for the pilot run of the immunization for kids. Among this is the Pasig City General Hospital. Each of these facilities received over 1,100 Pfizer doses for the beneficiaries. As early as 7 today, vaccinees along with their parents lined up to get their shots. They brought their clearance forms from their pediatricians. The DOH is aiming to vaccinate over 144,000 children with comorbidities against COVID-19 in NCR alone. Risa, so far there are no reports of any adverse effect among children who got vaccinated starting today, but PCGH officials or medical staff advise parents to monitor their children for any possible side effects. Risa.
Thank you. That's Jenny Dawn reporting to us live again from Pasig City. Now, the Health Department assures the public that COVID-19 vaccines that will be administered to minors are safe. DOH spokesperson Rosette Berhere told the chiefs that the shots have passed the evaluations of the Food and Drug Administration. She added that reports of adverse effects among minors in other countries are only minimal. The government's pilot run of pediatric vaccinations have started today.
Pag meron tayong EUA galing sa FDA, it is giving us that assurance that it is safe and it is of quality. Doon muna tayo sa mga ospital para mas organized. Nandun po yung mga espesyalista natin. Mga doktor din po yan ng ating mga batang may sakit.
Now, here's a quick look at some of today's headlines. The pilot run of pediatric vaccinations for COVID-19 begins today. The World Health Organization is now recommending booster shots for select individuals. And the cinemas and other recreation centers gear up for Metro Manila's shift to Alert Level 3 starting tomorrow. And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later again at 2 in the afternoon as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We are One News.